Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about Tactical Marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and should probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
How's it
I've got
going to
no
go?
slides. You don't get slides for this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh God, I'm worried.
Because I've got my notes here and I need them.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So, welcome to another episode of Three Grots in a Vox, your bi-weekly-ish, more or less, podcast where we talk absolute bollocks for about half an hour to about an hour and a half. Today we've got a special episode, and for this I need a prop.
And you can tell it's special because regular viewers will be able to tell just how long it's been since Tony introed one of these things.
Yeah. Look at this. I've got a prop. Hang on.
Fucking long time is the answer. What the hell?
I thought we'd play a game.
Okay.
That is a waistcoat with...
Good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the
My,
gallant.
It's like my game show hosting waistcoat, this.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
And I've got a beer, but it's rubbish because it's Lucky Saint, so it's like fake beer.
Okay.
So which bit of that is our galaxy and which bit of that is where the Tyranids are from?
Oh, none of them. They're just funny, colourful pictures. Most of the time we see it in black and white anyway, so we just add random colours to it for the sake of it. So let me kind of just talk through what this is going to be.
Just
So-
preface this.
Just for the audience.
John and I have no fucking idea what Tony's doing here. This is as much new to us as it's going to be to you when you watch this.
I had an idea. So
And we said yes,
I was
which
perusing,
was possibly
through
not
this
wise.
and I started seeing loads of people using a term that I really hadn't come across. Right? And I like to think I'm fairly on the pulse of the zeitgeist that is Warhammer shit, and I come across most terms. I've been playing for a long time, so when one of these terms comes up, I'm like, yeah, I don't remember that one. I played with that one before. Anyway, all of a sudden, I swear, about 2 months ago, everyone started saying drops. Right? And I was like, what the hell is this? What the hell do you mean drops? Now, I know what it means now. It's number of units that you can place or use. But where the hell did that come from? Never heard of it. Then suddenly, all over the place, everyone's saying drops. Right? I've been in the hobby for 30 years, and we've managed just fine just calling them units.
Yes.
How many units you got? Oh, about 5. Right, brilliant. Suddenly, no, we need a new term for it. A term with exactly the same number of letters as the original. So it's not quicker to say, it's just new.
It's
I
true.
was like, what the hell is this? And someone else commented on their Discord, and I was like, I don't know, I think it means this, but it's just some weird bollocks people start talking about. And then someone got really defensive over it, and those other people chiming, yeah, it's always been that. I was like, I don't think it has always been that. I think I've been playing the game longer than you've been alive.
Okay, all right. So this is a ranty old man
Anyway,
episode. All
I
right,
thought, I
cool.
want to do some research on this. So I went on ChatGPT,
Oh, cool.
and I said, right, where the hell does this term come from?
Oh, cool.
Why has it popped up? And it turns out that ChatGPT, especially with the new models and that, are quite good at just trawling through the internet and putting together lots of random stuff.
It is.
I got it to
pretty good.
trawl through, and I found out that the reason it's become popular is basically some popular, very fancy, competitive American YouTube channels started using it a little while ago, and it's sort of popped up, which is unsurprising. But the term's an American one. It's a carryover from the American ITC circuit, and because a lot of people attribute the only people who can play competitive Warhammer to Americans, as opposed to there's just a lot of them that make a lot of videos, that must be a widely known term. So anyway, it's American, it's from the ITC circuit. And I thought, hang on, while I'm doing this, are there any other weird terms that have popped up over the pond that we may or may not know? And then I thought, let's expand it out. So what I've got here is I've got a list of random wargaming terms from around the world. Some of them are British, some are American, some are Australian, some are European. And I thought we could play the game of who knows what the bloody hell they mean. So
Right.
I've got here
Okay.
what they are, what they mean, where they come from, and where they're popularly used at the moment.
Can,
Now,
can
all
I
of
just
this is according to ChatGPT, so it could be bollocks.
can I just clarify something before we get into this?
Go on.
When you say you've recently heard the term drops and like, oh, it's a newish term, how recently are we talking roughly? Like days, weeks, months?
Last couple of months is sort of in this context. It's been used for things like card games and that quite a while.
Yeah.
And it started off over an Age of Sigmar and has kind of come across. So it started off there. But its only existence has been, according to according to this, is it really popped up in Wargaming at all at the tail end of 8th edition. And then it was quite localized. But again, it's been more recent that it's sort of spread over the pond, and that's with YouTube popularizing it.
All right. Okay.
Okay. I don't know how good I'm going to be at this.
Well, that's why I thought it'd be fun.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a term.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm going to play it a bit like QI. I'm not going to tell you what the scores are.
Okay.
I'm going to attribute scores entirely at my own discretion.
Okay, yeah, you just give random amount of points. Cool. So
Right.
you, for all intensive purposes, are Stephen Fry.
Yeah,
this
You
is
should
the
have
point-
started this episode with tonight, Matthew.
This is the point in post production where John adds silly little background diddly doo diddly 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 music background like weird.
That
stuff,
sounds like the
game
Pokemon
show
battle music.
Shuffle.
So look, I've got a bit of paper,
We can find
This
some
is high
license-free
tech,
background
Alan.
music to make it sound like a game show or something. I don't know.
and I thought we could play this game. Now, I've got different rounds, so like a bit of a theme for each one of these sections. Okay.
Okay.
So I've got terms, different things. So the first term here is on the gameplay mechanics and strategy.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm so afraid right now. Mark,
Now,
you look afraid. You look as afraid as I feel. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
afraid about how much Tony's going to embarrass himself with this. But
Well, I know.
it'll be fun.
There's some of them on here that I didn't know, and some of them I didn't know were used in this context, and all sorts of
Mhm.
things. I think
Plus
most
also-
of these first ones you'll probably get, but
Tony
you might
feels
not
very
get all
little
of
shame.
it. 'Cause what I'm looking for is not just what they mean, but I want to know where they came from
Right.
and where they're popularly used. All right.
Okay.
Right.
So there's
okay.
effectively 3 points for each one of these.
God.
Okay, and a bonus point for saying something amusing about it. Right? Any amusing anecdotes or just things that make me laugh get you a bonus point.
Okay.
Right, and because I've got no mechanism of tracking this, we're not going to have any other method than the first person who speaks gets the answer.
Oh, we should have got buzzers, shouldn't we?
You should have got buzzers, but I didn't make that.
Okay.
You could put your hand up, I suppose, but do you know,
Sure.
can you put your hand up on this? Does that work?
Oh yeah, we can put our hand up in the meeting.
What? I'll just press the button and do the thing. Does it? Will the
Just check you
audience
can do
see
it.
that if we do that?
And then that'll be the better way, actually, because I'll just see who comes up. Because actually, I think it tells you.
Yeah. It says
Tells
who's
you
raised
who's
their
first and
hand.
who's second.
Oh, I need to click the bloody button. All right.
All right.
Right, are you ready?
Fingers on
start off
buzzers, I
easy
guess.
down here,
I am
Right.
so not ready, but all right.
Right, 3 points available with a 4th bonus point for amusing content.
Okay.
Right. First one, nice and easy. MSU.
Minimum size unit.
Multiple small units.
Mark gets it. Where's it come from?
Woohoo! People playing weenie armies full of very, very minimum sized units, as John said, to try and cover as many things as possible because they don't like painting huge, stompy, giant death knights and things. I don't know.
Is it sort of, but I want to know what country did it originate from.
Oh, America, probably. I don't know.
John, what do you reckon?
I'm going to say it originated from England.
And where is it popularly used now?
I mean, it's used in Warhammer 40,000, right?
Anywhere that
where
plays
globally?
Warhammer.
Countries that globally use it.
Anywhere that plays Warhammer. So, I don't know, most developed countries, I guess.
Right. So MSU, multiple small units, not minimum sized units. I don't know where that came from, but I've heard a few people saying that recently. Is a spin-off originally from Warhammer Fantasy, but spun into Warhammer 40k during 6th edition. It is an old British tournament scene terminology
Okay.
that then spread globally. So you've all got a point or so there somewhere.
Awesome.
Okay.
See, this is a fun game. It's easy.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, apart from I got it wrong. Sure.
Apart from you got it wrong. Where the hell did you get minimum-sized unit?
Some people call it that. Like, I think it
Wrong.
can be.
You literally just yourself said you've heard people calling it that recently. So
Yeah, John. And someone else on the Discord used it the other week, and I was like, "Where the hell you got that from?"
yeah, fair enough.
I used to play Dark Elves back in Warhammer Fantasy, and it's how you used to play was this MSU, and everyone would have a million little units of Dark Riders, and you just bake charges all day. So yeah, that's a British term, which surprised me. Okay, next one. Are you ready?
Yes.
Beta strike. Go on, John.
It's a term used when you counter an alpha strike.
It is. Well done.
Well,
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, not that I've heard it before, but it's just like you can sort of logic that through a bit, can't you?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you clearly can't because you would have done if you did, and John beat you to the punch.
I'm like, do I want to? This is like, I don't know. I know the answer to this, but I can think it through. And Alpha Strike is a fairly well-known terminology. But yeah, sure, fine,
Yeah,
whatever.
you can jabber now, but you
I'm jabbering now. That's just
So,
literally
John,
what
you
I'm
get first
doing.
pick on this one. Where does the term come from?
Make
I've
Warrior.
never heard it before, so I'm going to say Canada.
It's terminology used in MechWarrior and BattleTech, used when a giant walking stompy Death Knight unloads all of its guns in one go and blows the level-loving shit out of something
No, that's an
to
alpha
die
strike.
in an Alpha Strike. And Beta Strike is when you survive it and then hit them back.
So where does it
Okay.
come from then?
I've played a lot of BattleTech, and I know what an alpha strike is, but I've never heard of beta strike in that context. But yeah, so it's a delayed. It's basically a delayed reactionary army. So it's designing your army to take the alpha strike and then hit back in turn 2 or whatever. It is a term that developed after the alpha strike thing that started to pop up during 7th edition as a reaction to that in America. And it is popular in what country other than America? It's one other place that uses it, apparently.
And it's not Canada, New Zealand, Australia.
Australia gets it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's an American and Australian term, apparently.
Okay,
This is why it's fun.
sure, fair enough.
Seems like a fun one. Right, okay.
I suppose if you live in Australia, you've got to be ready to take the hit because they'll be hitting you and you don't know it's coming from the
And
spiders
because
down the
the
toilet.
miniatures are so expensive, you can't afford that many as well.
The
So you've
dunny
got to try and
snakes and
make
everything
retail.
else. Yeah,
All right, next one. You ready?
and the drop
Yes.
bears.
Chaff.
Fucking click.
I'll let you answer. You're trying to click, obviously. There you
There
go.
he goes.
So, chaff is a military term used from. It's like deploying flares. You deploy chaff. Chaff is stuff that deflects or confuses missile targeting systems or other targeting systems, and is used to basically disperse the force of a strike one way or another. And when you use it in Warhammer, it's used to, here is my disposable chaff units for you to charge into that don't cost very many points and they just die and I don't give a fuck.
Seems
Where's it
like a
come
good
from?
answer.
Comes from military use. Chaff is terminology for deploy chaff, like deploy countermeasures. Flares.
I think-
That's good. Country.
Oh, it's going to be America.
I
I
would
would say
say
America for most things, to be fair.
Both
I
going to
was-
America. Okay, and where is it used now?
it's used for poxwalkers.
You had a bad game with that last night, John. How did that go?
Oh, Death
I
Guard.
did see your salty McSalty response.
Were you shouting and ranting? And who were you playing? Was it Colin or was it Andrew you're playing against or somebody else?
It was Colin. I played as Death Guard last night. My God,
Yeah.
they're strong.
Did he call them chaff or were they all valuable parts of his army?
He usually calls them chaff.
Fair enough.
Colin's quite a good Death Guard player, and Death Guard are broken at the moment. So
Yes, he's
So-
very good.
So
Yeah.
Scotland then. The term is used in Scotland.
okay, so you got the right definition. It is a military term used for little units of stuff that you can throw away, but you got it wrong. It's a British term. It's another British term that carried over, and it is used now, becoming more global, but predominantly in Britain.
Oh,
Fair
okay.
enough.
I would have totally thought that was America.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there we go.
Okay, so now I've got two that are going to go back to back, all right? Because they're more or less the same thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one then, trading.
I mean, it's trading my units for your units.
Okay.
It's a pretty common thing. I think it probably came in like 9th edition, if I had to guess. 8th or 9th.
Yep.
I don't remember it much before then. And players just trade, essentially, cheap units to kill expensive units.
And variants
Absolutely.
include trading up and trading down. Trading up is when it's a cheap unit killing a bigger unit, and trading down is when it's a big unit killing a low unit. In terms of points, normally.
Absolutely. Right, so you got that point. Where's it from? Like, geographical location again?
As in being used in this context.
I'm going to say it's from Germany.
The fuck?
What?
China.
With their massively widely known playing of Warhammer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what? There is a Warhammer shop, at least more than one now in China. But
Yeah.
it's deserted. Nobody plays Warhammer in China. I asked my wife about it, and she's like, "We can get things here so cheap. Like, why would anybody pay that much money for a plastic fucking toy?"
I can see it being originally used in the culture for use in strategy games in general rather than Warhammer in specific.
Yeah, that's why I went for Germany.
Warhammer use in specific. Warhammer's born in England and then is spread into the US as the second biggest market. So you're either going to be one of these two countries in most answers, to be honest.
Is that your way of saying I give up?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to give it to John because according to this, well, not Wikipedia, ChatGPT, it's a European WTC, but it started out in the European tournament scene back in 7th and 8th edition.
There we go.
Which I thought didn't know it was American.
I would have thought it would have originated like in. I don't know the names of the individual war games, but I know the Germans love their games with the tanks, right? Like I know.
Dude, this sort of thing goes back to like chess and older strategy games. Trading pieces.
But we're talking in a Warhammer context, and according to the GPT,
okay,
it was European, which caught me out.
Okay,
I'm not going to bother with the where is it used. It's used everywhere.
Yes.
But the next one, trade piece.
The piece you trade with.
You haven't pressed a little hand. I haven't seen anybody put their hands up yet.
Fine. All right, please. Here we go.
Mark.
I've forgotten the answer. Sorry. I don't know what I was going to say. What was the question again? Can you repeat the question, please?
Trade piece.
Oh, it sounds like I've said something, so it's automatically raising my hand. What, lowering my hand? This is a weird mechanic. Yeah, the piece you trade with.
Yeah, more or less. It's a piece you're going to trade up, trade down with. Where's it from?
South Bolivia.
I'm not giving you that, Mark. I'm just going to stare at you like I do with one of my students when they can't something stupid.
All right. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Go on, John.
It's from Denmark. I feel like it's a Europe. If trading is European, then I've got to guess another European country.
Well, you'd be wrong.
Okay.
Portugal?
So no, it comes from US meta and coaching events. So it basically comes from Art of War.
Oh, really? Okay.
So although the trading is a European idea and terminology, the idea of a trade piece comes from people like Art of War in the US, which is why I said it was interesting. But it's only really used in that context in the US and Canada.
Oh, damn it.
Fair enough.
No, I feel like I've watched a lot of their tier lists, and I don't know if I've ever heard them say that.
Well, ChatGPT disagrees with you, so, you know.
I mean, who am I to disagree with AI?
Clearly you're wrong then, yeah.
Remember, this is like most commonly used. It's not saying that nobody does. And I do think, this is why I thought this would be interesting, because I reckon that you're massively skewed on this, John.
Am I?
Yeah, well, this is my theory, because you spend all day interacting with your audience, predominantly US based, isn't it?
True, that's true. Yeah.
So because you spend all of your time kind of interacting with the Americans, I reckon that your kind of perception of what terms are more common and whatnot is going to be a little bit warped.
All right, yeah, that's going to rub off on me. That's fair.
Because the people you talk about or talk to that, of course, are going to be using that as thing. Whereas, like Mark and I, generally, the people we would talk to about this are much more UK based.
True.
No, yeah,
That's my theory, and that's what's going to play out. When the air compressor stops, because I forgot to turn it off. Just talk amongst yourselves.
I can't hear any.
Okay, so next round, all right? If you want to know who's winning at the moment,
sure,
it's gone.
It's the audience.
Fucking Bolivia. Right, round 2.
Yeah, what's the name of this round?
Army building and meta.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Soup.
Did you say stoop or soup?
Soup. Like Heinz cream of tomato. Mark.
So that'll be referring to something along the lines of an army being built out of imperial soup, which means it's made of multiple different imperial sub-factions brought together into a giant soup army where it's all been mixed together.
Okay, yep, brilliant. You can have a point. Where's it from?
Washington, D.C.
Very specific.
Sure. All right. Okay. USA.
USA. Right. Fair enough. You can have that point. So yeah, you're right. Soup, cross faction, but still like Imperial soup or cow soup or whatever. So it's cross faction armies built out. Comes from 8th edition when they first started to let us do it. That was an amazing time. Do you remember the Loyal 32?
Amazing time is one way of phrasing it. Complete, utter broken bullshit is another way of phrasing it.
Everybody brought, because it was the smallest battalion you could do or whatever, the Loyal 32 in their army, because you could do a battalion out of 32 guardsmen.
3 units of 10 guard and like 2 company command models or whatever.
Something like that, yeah. It was 32 models, and it worked out that it's the cheapest way of getting a load of CP back then. Because you could soup everything together, it worked quite well. And you're right, it come from America, and it come from kind of the US forums and that of the time of 8th edition is where this term soup came from. Next one then. Voltroning.
I feel like...
I don't actually know in Warhammer terms. I know it in SWU terms and card game terms, but Warhammer, I don't quite get how that fits.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
So in card game, for example, in SWU, the term when you Voltron a unit, you tool it up, you put a load of upgrades on it and make it bigger and more powerful and stonky and strong until it overpowers everything else because it's too big to be taken down. So I suppose in current Warhammer that's kind of irrelevant because you can't tool anything up really. It's all one big cost and it all comes with everything. So it's not like a case of you can put points and upgrades on stuff as much as you used to be able to in previous editions.
Yeah. So you are right. That is what the term means. It's when you take a single unit or a single model and you just keep stacking buffs and upgrades and stuff like that on it until it becomes really, really powerful. You super buff a unit or a model.
In the game rather than in the list building stage?
It is list building stage, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's things like you don't really do it so much in the current game because you, like you say, beyond sticking an enhancement on, there's not much you can do with it. But it used to be much more common and you do occasionally still get it because you'll get like you'll get a single character and you stick an enhancement on it and then you mix that character into that unit and you get some super powered unit with Azrael in the or whatever. It's not as easy to do in 10th as it has been in previous editions, but you can still do it to an extent, and we do still run into it occasionally.
Also, and potentially more often known as Death Starring.
I think so, yeah. That's how I would generally refer to it, which is a bit of a clue for the next question of where's it coming from?
Star Wars. A galaxy far, far away.
No, that's what you do when you pull up a Luke Skywalker and smash me with it.
I was going to say, that's where you're coming from, a galaxy far, far away. It's coming from America, surely.
England, sure, why not? Great Britain, even.
It developed simultaneously across America and Japan.
Oh,
So it's a Japanese predominantly used Warhammer list building term.
Incidentally, the Voltron animated series on Netflix is fucking good and thoroughly deserve a watch if you enjoy that sort of thing. It is technically a kids animated series, but it goes into the sort of themes that you'd expect a more mature audience to appreciate, and it's really very good.
Brilliant. Yeah, I've heard of it and things like that, but again, I don't think I never really got into anime and things. And Voltron, that's really popular in America, and it didn't really wasn't part of my thing over here. But
yeah, it's like
it's a Japanese term. It did come over from card games, and is used predominantly in Japan and parts of America.
So I get half a point then, because I said America.
No, I'm not giving you any points because
that's worth a half point. You said half of. You didn't say guess 2 countries. The stipulation was 1, so if I guess 1 of 2, that's half a point.
I attribute the points. In fact, I might dock your points for being annoying.
All right. Well, you didn't get any. I got 1 of the 2 countries. That seems unfair.
Okay. Right. So next one. But Mark's getting a point for working out what Voltron meant.
Okay.
Next one then. Tech piece.
Tech piece. In list building.
Mm-hmm. Go on, Mark.
So, teching for something refers to knowing that something is going on in the meta, and a tech piece is something that you have or identified, or the community has identified to be used in a list as a piece of technology to combat that particular tactic or element in the metagame. Also, occasionally referred to as silver bullet.
Okay, yep, I'm going to give you that point. Where's it from?
I learned it from all the stuff I've been doing with card games recently rather than Warhammer stuff, so I've got no idea if it's relevance to Warhammer.
I mean, you were right. You got the right description. So what country do you think that would come from?
USA.
Bingo. So, yeah, you can have that point as well. It's an American term that's come over from Magic the Gathering. But it's now used a lot in the US and Canada, apparently.
Yeah, that's fair. Take your sideboard out for whatever's going on.
Yep. Right. Last one for this round. RPS meta.
Go on, John.
I don't.
No?
I don't have anything yet.
All right, sure. I'm going to say it stands for rock, paper, scissors meta, where one army stands as rock and beats another one, and is beaten by scissors, but it's beaten by paper and blah, blah, all that kind of jazz, so that not everything can beat every other army, but they always have something they're weak against and something they're strong against.
Brilliant. And where's it from?
France.
Like USA again. And is commonly used in the US, Canada, and apparently the UK. But I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard it.
No, I couldn't.
Work it out, but I've never heard anybody say that.
No,
I was trying to figure out how it was like rocket propelled grenade or something. I didn't get RPS at all.
So I've come across it. Not often in Warhammer, but again, terminology used in card games is you have the aggro decks, which normally beat mid-range. Mid-range normally beat control, and control normally beats other way around. Fucking whatever the hell it is.
Whatever it is,
but you got the spiral going around.
Archetype beats
yeah, and it's less applicable to Warhammer in a way because you don't have that cycle of. Well, I suppose you do. You have like shooty gun line stuff. You got melee stuff. You got mid.
It kind of ties into me with the kind of idea of skew list.
Yeah,
you will always win unless it meets the skew that annihilates it.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. Oh, Mark's frozen. Oh, he's back. So after that round 2,
might also be comparable to gatekeeper lists in that go. I think perhaps.
Mark has 5 points.
Yeah.
John has -1.
Okay.
So round 3.
We missed
Community
the
and
trick by not having
online
stupid
slang.
music in the background here.
Sorry?
We
I'm
really
gonna let John put
missed the
some
trick not
background
by
music
having
in this.
stupid background noise. Yeah.
I want something dramatic, and I want, like, I'll give you the scores, but they need to pop up at the end of each one of these rounds on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
You can try.
Yep.
Okay, so community and online slang.
Like, Tony, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. No.
Hey, this is my game. I've got loads more rounds of this. Everyone's going to be really bored by the time we get there. I'll try and make this one a shorter round because I haven't got as many things on this.
Okay.
The first one, net listing. John.
It is copying your list off the internet because you have no soul.
And you get a bonus point for saying because you have no soul.
I would like to counter argument that, because if somebody is new to the hobby, they've just come into it and they don't really know all the strategies and details and ways and means of building a list that's powerful, it's perfectly acceptable to netlist your first deck and see what's winning and doing well, in order to get started, get a foot on the ladder.
No, I agree with that. I think the people that netlist, though, are like serial netlisters, right? They see something online that they like and they're like, I'm copying that. And then they see a different thing next week and then they're copying that, you know?
Oh, like no Andrews we might name here.
Yeah, no Andrews we might.
Everybody with bloody angelic inheritors after
Las Vegas Open.
America won with it. And we just realised that they couldn't make that work.
That's only the latest symptom. It's been going on in time immemorial, I'm sure.
Well, that leads me to the next question. So, yeah. John, at the moment, you got 2 points for that answer so far.
Okay. Cool.
Mark, you got -1 for being a killjoy. Where did it come from?
I think it definitely came from America. But I don't. Yeah, I think it's got to be America.
Both come in America?
Yeah.
Well, you're both wrong. It come from the early 2000s, and if you remember them, because I remember them, do you remember there was a UK website, the Daka forums?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, come from the Daka forums in the early 2000s.
Oh, I remember them. And Bolter and Chainsword and War.
Bolter and Chainsword,
use them a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I used to be
they're just dead or just populated by trolls these days or something.
I was a mod on druchi.net for years.
Okay.
Which was the global dark elf community. Anyway, right, next one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Math hammer.
Oh, this is when
literally your shtick. Yeah.
I was going to say, you use maths to calculate unit damage, or survivability, or any sort of thing within the game that will give you a bonus.
Yep. Statistical analysis of 40k stuff. Where's it from?
I think it's from the Goonhammer website, but I could be wrong. So I think Goonhammer is American, so I think America/Goonhammer. I can't remember seeing it anywhere before Goonhammer, maybe.
Mark?
Modern math, as I understand it, originated from Greece, so I'm going to go with Greece.
I mean, technically, you're probably right.
I mean, you'd be wrong, because it would be... modern math was an Arabic invention.
Was it? Oh,
yes.
Okay, fair enough.
So... You would have got a point if you said Arabic, because then I would be like, well, at least it's factually correct, and factually correct is the best kind of correct. But you tried to be a pedantic arse and got it wrong.
Me? Pedantic? Nah, never.
So you get another minus point.
Woohoo!
But John, you're wrong anyway. It's another one from Daka.
Oh, really? Okay, god damn it. Wow.
And I didn't know this either. This was a fun exercise. I learned loads doing this. This is the last one. Pub stomping.
What?
Pub stomping. Go on, John.
That is when you go to a public place and you stomp someone because you've netlisted. Well, you don't have to netlist, but you're just stomping people in public. Like literally, you're taking like a win at all cost list to a public place and you just stomp something that doesn't deserve to be stomped.
As confused as I was when I saw that.
I've never come across this term.
Never come across it at all. But John, you almost wrote that definition word for word. It's basically seal clubbing. It's going to like casual gaming events or places with like top tier, high tune tournament lists and absolutely annihilating people.
So I came across it in StarCraft. So like me and you would play StarCraft together online, and we'd have like a strategy that we'd like talked about. and we just go straight into like a public game, and we would just stomp people that obviously are just like playing for the first time.
Yeah,
And
well, it says, I'm not going to put all the answer here, but actually in the next bit, the origin question, it does say MMO and online gaming is where it came from originally. But what country?
Oh, Korea.
Only because it said StarCraft.
Yeah. What's
I
wrong
think-
with that?
I think it's going to be America.
Yeah, you're right. You get it. It's America.
Yeah.
Where's it used?
MMO, RPGs, and online
Like
games.
countries.
Sorry?
Where's the
Where's
term
it?
only used for Warhammer country-wise?
I mean, I've heard Andrew say it, like, so I think it might be still used in Britain, but probably also gets used in America.
Mark?
Scotland. I've never heard it before, but if John's heard it, then, empirical evidence would appear to suggest.
No, I'd never heard it. According to my thing here, it is America and Australia.
Okay.
An Australian one.
Fair enough.
Right, so at the end of round 3,
Yeah.
John, you've got 4 points.
Cool.
Mark, you've got -2.
Okay, that's a swing.
Well, I'm doing each round as like an individual.
Oh, right, okay.
That's not a total. That's not a running total then.
No, you're not doing a running total. We're just doing like round by round. 'Cause it's more
Okay,
fun.
cool. Awesome.
Okay. Psychological and player behavior is the name of our next round.
Okay.
Our first one. WAAC.
Win at all costs. Whack.
I can't see no hands.
Win at all costs.
John, you beat him to it. What would you like to say, John?
No, I'm not dropping that low. Mark answered it. It's okay.
Go on, then, Mark. Say again.
I can't remember. Sorry, what was the question? I've forgotten.
Whack.
Whack.
So yeah, you're right. It's win at all costs.
It's when you play like an asshole and you will use every devious trick, including cheating your dice rolls, any sort of psychological trick to make your opponent pissed off or distracted or away, literally winning the game at all costs, including your own personal decency, because you're a twat. Yeah.
Win focused play style. Yeah, absolutely right. Where's it come from though?
Death Guard players.
Just come from any of them, John. You know this is true. It'd be Eldar players.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Well made.
If there's ever a bunch of people that take themselves too seriously, it's people who play Eldar.
Yeah. No, we just lost like 25% of our subscribers with Eldar players. Thanks for.
No, they admit it. They know it.
They never
Yeah,
watched
they
this
can't play it and not know it.
So yeah, where'd it come from?
Bitter Eldar players. I don't know.
I think it
People are
came.
bitter
it's-
over having losing to
I was
Eldar.
going to say it's been around since like 7th or 8th edition. I think it probably just came from some tournament scene. I imagine maybe the UK because I've heard it here, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go with Britain.
So you're right, it's Britain. It was used in White Dwarf
Oh really?
back in 2nd edition.
Oh wow. Okay.
Fair enough.
It's an old British term from White Dwarf, places like that, and it's now sort of spread globally. Don't
I can see it being a general strategy gaming term rather than just specific to Warhammer. Makes perfect sense.
know, but yeah, so it was an old White Dwarf term in kind of early events for like when there were the first ever tournaments and things like that. That's when it sort of came from. Right. Another one that I have absolutely zero idea on until I've looked this up. Timmy's, Spikes, and Johnny's. Which sounds a lot like condoms.
So again, I know what this is because of my research into card games and various websites I've done with regards to new players' guides and terminologies. Timmy, Spikes, and Johnny's are different kinds of players. I can't remember which is which, but one of them just likes to play with the pretty things and doesn't give a flying fuck if they win or lose. One of them likes putting together clever combos and being known for sort of like winning through superior intellect, and the other one just wants to crush every other motherfucker out there.
I don't know. It still doesn't make any sense. It just is player personality types. I didn't understand it. But I think you've got it, John. Mark. So you can have that point. Where's it come from?
Do you want me to pull up the actual... It's come from Magic the Gathering. Do you want me to pull up some actual documentation for it? Because I do have that somewhere.
Well, then you can tell me, and I'll give you a bonus point if you can concisely explain what a Timmy, Spike, and Johnny is without at any point making it sound like a type of condom.
Okay, sure. So player archetypes. Timmy's primary motivation is fun. They want to show up at a tournament, have a good time, and not necessarily win every game, but the ones they do win need to be big and memorable. They need to play the flashy things, the premier characters, and let their memes be their dreams. Timmy doesn't have to be young, but often is. Johnny's primary motivation is self-expression, building a army or a deck that is truly unique and leverages cards or units other players may not be using is what drives Johnny. Like Timmy, Johnny does not need to win every game, but instead they want to see their plans come to their fruition just enough to feel satisfied with their game and their gameplay. Spike is there to win. They give no fucks about what's fun or creative. The goal is the trophy. Spike will copy, tweak, grind until they can play every game to peak efficiency and risk becoming whack in most situations.
There we go. So we got 2 Johnnies and a Spike on this channel.
I don't know if I'm Spike. I do like to make my own combos, and I'll grind my own combos, but I want net list. Like, I never played Jack Harpster's LVO list, right?
No, you wouldn't. You do like to go your own way.
It's true.
But you do like to win, and you will run ugly as shit units.
That's true.
Or like crappy detachments that have no flavour whatsoever, so you can win. Looking at you, Red Templars Commander.
Mm-hmm. I do respect that you are perfectly willing to work out your own play style in doing this and what works for you rather than what works for every other little bastard out there. So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. No one would ever doubt that. But yeah, you play what's good rather than what's cool.
Yeah,
generally.
That's true. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I agree with that.
Whereas Mark likes to make the world's most convoluted combinations of units, traps and tricks and things like that.
And then utterly fail to be any good with them whatsoever.
Like that bizarre drop pod list that you were bouncing around in 9th edition.
Yeah, and did nothing with. Just utterly lost every time.
And I like picking all the units that nobody likes using and running a million of them. Love Terminators. And I was using Vindicators before they were cool.
You were.
Now everyone's using them. I've stopped running them. Okay, right. Mark, you're absolutely just rinsing this round. I just want to put that out there. Last one then that I'm going to do for this round. Bully unit.
It's a big, nasty unit that is super durable, super difficult to take down, and will bully the board, so to speak.
Almost, not quite. It's a bully unit is someone who is bigger than the unit they're targeting. So, it's essentially, it's like trading down. It's commensurate to trading down. A bully unit is someone who can kill someone with little fear of being hit back or harmed in return, rather than a more general board strategy.
Okay, so I'm going to give you both a point for that because you're both sort of like half right. A bully unit is a unit that kind of projects a zone of control around it. So it's a big, tough, scary thing that things around it can't really deal with. So it can force them to react to it rather than it having to react to them. So you're both sort of right. So I'm going to give you both a point there, but it's mostly a pity point for John at this point.
Okay.
Where is it from?
I think it's from the Orc Codex because orcs, the black ones, bully the little ones.
I mean, yeah, that's quite a clever answer. I'll give you a point for that, but it's not the right one.
Okay.
I mean, school bullies are a fucking universal term, aren't they? So it could literally be the entire world.
No, you're wrong. It's the US coaching scene again. Art of War, we have you to blame for this.
Sure.
And it is used in the US and Australia, apparently.
Okay. Someone from the US or Australia or vice versa must be trading, must be flying back and forth and giving them the weird terms.
Well, I think so, because there seems to be a lot of like common ones in there, but I've never really thought of those people as those places being that close together, but whatever.
They're surely not. Like, Australia to the US is like one of the longest distances on the world map, surely. Right? It's like 10,000 miles or something.
So, and both countries are shit at cricket.
Okay. Not sure that was strictly necessary, but fair enough.
I'm always having a pop at the Americans. I thought I'd have a pop at the Australians for change. So after that round, John, you've got 2 points, and Mark, you've got 4 points. So Mark, you take that round. All right, I've got 2 rounds left.
Who spares?
2 rounds left. Okay.
Okay.
So the penultimate round is faction specific and lore inspired.
Okay.
Okay. So our first term is blender. John.
It's like a kitchen blender. You just blend up your enemies. You kill all of them. I think it originated from those Fleshmore things that the Death Guard have with the big blender-y things on the front of them. They just run into the enemy and they blend everybody up.
Yeah, generally a melee unit that will mince whatever the fuck it goes into with minimal effort.
Right, so I'm going to give you both a point for that because, John, you were sort of on the right track, but Mark, you just summarised it a lot quicker and easier to understand. It's a melee unit that's really good at shredding things in close combat, generally shredding other infantry units. Where's it from? No, it's not from the Fresh Mowers, John.
I think it would be from the UK because I don't think Americans do blinding.
I would say from the Blood Angels because, duh, clearly they're the best.
I mean, yeah, it's very Flesh Terror, isn't it? No, it's a US term from MMOs and RTSs.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
so I'm not sure how many RTSs have got melee units, but ChatGPT tells me it's right. Therefore, it must be right.
It must be right, yeah.
Sure, why not?
And it's in popular use in the US and the UK. Next one, then, a tar pit.
It's a big, durable unit that, it's a unit that will just slow down the enemy. Like they'll not be able to move. They'll be stuck in combat with this unit. They can't kill the unit, but the unit necessarily doesn't do a lot of damage back against them. It just essentially stops them in their tracks, like a tar pit.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that.
I'm going to give you the point for that one. Yeah, it's a unit that's designed to bog down enemies so they can't get away from it and they can't kill it either. Where's it from?
Pits of tar. I don't know. Where did tar pits come from?
I feel like I first heard it maybe like 8th edition Warhammer. I feel like there must be a unit that dropped tar with a stratagem or something, but I honestly, I'm reaching.
I don't think so. I think I first heard it around about sort of 6th ed sort of stuff, and I don't think there was a lot of cross-pollination going on at that point, so I'm going to go on with Britain.
Yeah, it is. It's another British term. It's a British Warhammer Fantasy term popularised in White Dwarf back during 4th and 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy. Spread its way over at the same sort of time into 40k. So that would have been when you used great big units of infantry that you just couldn't chew through.
I can see that. With fantasy armies and their huge, great, big template movement tray things. Yeah, okay.
Okay, next one then. Another one that I sort of knew, but didn't really. Carnifex tax.
I'm going to guess it's a high points cost on a big unit just because it's a big unit.
No, it's a good guess, though. Mark, do you want to go?
Wasn't what I thought you were going to say when you started with Carnifex, but no, it's not a term I'm familiar with or can.
So
really
guess.
Logical.
Make a guess.
Make a guess. Bonus points if it's funny.
Carnifex tax. So, logically, I would have to think it would be some sort of points you pay as a premium for being a big, stompy unit just for it being big and stompy.
That's what John just said. No, you're both wrong. The Carnifex tax is you needing to bring a unit to allow the unlocking of other units. So it's expensive units you have to bring to unlock other units.
Why is that?
And it has come from the US Tyrannid forums back in 8th edition and is in global Tyrannid use. But I don't think I've ever heard.
When you taking your Carnifex unlock anything in a
back in 8th
Tyrannid
edition,
army?
it was the way that like detachments and that worked. You just bring basically had to bring a Carnifex, and Carnifexes were shit back then.
Really?
So yeah, she had to bring them though to make
for Synapse or something.
Something like that. So yeah, nobody gets any points for that one. But there's another one I'd never heard of as well. For another weird one, let's see if anybody can get this. Falling Star.
Nah, that one's a new one on me.
I have no idea. I'm going to say it's when your warlord dies?
That's a good guess, but
I'd maybe go on lines of when something deep strikes in and has a huge explodey impact when at the moment it lands.
well, I'm going to give Mark that. It's not that, but it's sort of that. It is a Necron term
Really?
for Necron deep striking big powerful units in, like you say.
Okay.
They used to have a strat apparently called Falling Star.
I
That would
seem
make
to recall
sense,
they had a Catan power along those lines as well. It
Yeah.
wouldn't shock me if it came from Apocalypse.
Where did it come from,
Apocalypse.
John?
The Necron Codex.
It comes from French 40k Discord slang
Okay.
Okay.
and is used extensively in the EU.
Okay.
Is it?
I mean,
Yeah, apparently.
sure. I mean,
So
okay.
for all the EU ones, none of you have been able to get. So if you go over to like Europe for a tournament or something, you're fucked.
can I just say that technically you said that did have a stratagem in the Necron Codex called Fallen Star, so I was actually right, so I am valued for a point this time.
I might
Or
knock one
at least a half a point. Come on.
No,
Plus,
you get
you
one.
referred to the tournament circuit in Europe being called the WTC, which is in fact the acronym that is the World Tournament Circuit,
It is.
rather than the ETC, which is the European Tournament Circuit.
I know, but I actually said WTC and European one. I didn't know the ETC was a thing.
It's
But yeah,
it's not been for a while.
And
Probably
ChatGPT
still is.
is always right.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Right, last one for this round then.
Yeah.
Crotch unit.
Sorry, what?
Crutch. Not crotch. Get your mind out of the gutter. Go on, John.
It's the unit that essentially, like, it has having a crutch means like this unit turns a battle. It holds up something else. It's like what a tech marine is to a dreadnought. Like he is its crutch. You know.
No, it's a crutch to you, the player. It's one that you rely on to be the linchpin of your battle strategy, and you rely on it possibly a bit too much.
Mark's probably closer, so I'm going to give him the point. It is an overused unit that carries lists.
So Vindicator tanks.
Sort of, yeah. So
Yeah.
Go back a few weeks or a couple of months or whatever, and Vindicator tanks were the crutch unit from Space Marines, weren't they?
They still are, I think. Fucking every list has
Yeah,
3 of them.
things haven't changed that much.
They've carried my list for the last 30 years. Back when
Until they get squatted. Woo!
Yeah. It's happening.
What's it from?
Art of War in the USA.
It's
Yeah, you can have that point. Yeah, it's another US term. US coaching service term. Right, this is my final round, okay? And then we can go back to doing something else. And you should feel very happy that I've gone all the effort making you a quiz for the evening.
I've enjoyed this. It's been fun.
It's been fun making it because there's loads of lists in it, like terms in it. I'm just like, what? So our final round is obsolete, outdated Warhammer 40,000 terms.
Cool. This one will be fun. Okay.
Okay, so I think you should get this because you're both old like me.
Okay, bring it.
Okay, ready? Rhino Rush. John.
Lots of rhinos, lots of tactical squads. You rush them forward. Simple as that.
Corn Berserkers. In rhinos, but yeah.
Well, either, both. So the Rhino Rush is an early game push using loads and loads of cheap rhinos because back in 3rd edition, you could charge out of a rhino.
Oh, really?
So you should just load up your rhinos with all your stuff. You drive them forward turn 1, jump out and charge. And that's how I used to win with Khan the Betrayer and all my Berserkers back in 3rd edition.
And it used to be a really aspirational term because back when I first heard it, I couldn't afford a single rhino because I was a kid.
They were a tenner then, weren't they? You remember that? When rhinos were a tenner and the standard infantry was a £5.
I remember when a box of 8 Terminators was like 15 quid.
Oh,
Maybe.
those were the days.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a slight difference to this now because I've got a different column for my final bit. Reason why it fell out of use.
What do you mean reason why it
Stop
fell out of use?
being able to charge out of rhinos?
Oh, right, like why the rhino stopped
Or
falling
why
out of
the term
use.
died off, basically, because it's not used really anymore.
Because GW sold a shit ton of rhinos and wanted to get people to buy different things instead. Therefore, nerfed the rhino rules so that it wasn't a thing, and therefore, people wanted to buy different stuff instead.
I mean, that's a bit dark because that was back in 3rd and 4th edition when it was more like there's a massively broken way of playing, and everybody was playing Space Marines or equivalent and just driving up the board turn 1 and charging. So why did it die out? Well, it says here it became fragile and inefficient, but mostly because it broke the game.
Yeah, it's fair.
Okay, so I'm going to give you both that because you both knew that one. You get a point each. The next term then, and it is Leaf Blower.
Leaf blower is a term first popularized with Imperial Guard lists, used with heavy amounts of artillery and guns, where they would just shoot the opposing army off the board very quickly with no real recourse or defense to it whatsoever.
Brilliant. So yeah, it was back in 6th edition, and it was 5th edition, and it was Imperial Guard with loads of indirect fire, just turning up and artillerying you off the board before you could do anything about it. Why did it disappear?
Mainly because the encouragement of decent amount of terrain became a thing and started to appear on more and more games and boards. So less boards became, in general, less wide open playing fields.
John?
I don't know why it disappeared. I would assume they nerfed indirect fire at some point.
Bingo, John gets the point. Yeah, so basically they nerfed the shit out of indirect fire, so you couldn't just artillery your opponent off the board when they're in cover and things like that, because all of a sudden you needed to be able to see your opponent to shoot them.
Yeah, I think I remember that. You actually had to see them even though you had an indirect fire gun.
Yeah, it just meant you had to be able to see them with one unit. You just didn't have to be able to see them with the unit that was shooting, was how they changed it to.
Yeah.
So you spotters, basically. Here's another one that I remember fondly, the Lash list.
It sounds like you went out the night before and you had a lot of drinks and you were on the lash. And then just
not everything's all about alcohol and getting drunk.
John's Scottish. Of course it's about alcohol.
Yes. So you just rock up whatever list you've got because you were out on the lash last night. You have time to paint any new models, you know?
No, you can have a point for an amusing answer, but you're not getting the point for what it actually was. Mark, do you remember what it was?
No, I've never heard of it before.
So this was a 4th and 5th edition one. So going back a long way, and I remember it because it was fucking annoying. Because this was the era when I played really serious competitive. So I used to go traveling around. I was a student at this time, so I'd go out to Europe and things like that playing tournaments. And it was an absolute fucking nightmare. And how they let it hang around for so long, I don't know. It was about the Lash of Submission, which was a chaos. I think it was on Demon Princes. But what it meant was you could use it on an opponent's unit and you could move their unit.
No, right, well.
Okay.
And it was just fucking annoying.
So the additions that you've quoted, when I was basically not Warhammering, it was between me going off to uni and then getting back into it after I decided I had disposable income and wanted to paint models again, which could explain why I've never heard it before.
Yeah, so I'm not going to bother even saying why was it removed. It was removed because it was broken as all fucked, annoying as all fucked, and it was just, yeah, it shouldn't have ever been in the game in the first place.
Cool.
Fish of Fury.
What?
Fish of Fury.
The only fish people I know are those Deepkin from Age of Sigmar, and they weren't around and they haven't been legends, so I don't know.
The only fish I'm aware of
even I remember Fish of Fury as well.
Relevance to 40k are the devilfish and the Tau.
Oh, now you're on the right track.
But I don't really know. I've not heard the term in reference to Warhammer.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that one.
So you're on the right track. It is to do with devilfish. So this is back in 4th edition.
Is it Rhino Rush, but with devilfish?
Sorry?
Is it Rhino Rush, but with Devilfish instead?
No. Well, why would you do that? What, just going to rush all my Tau up to melee my opponents? Oh, wait, hang on. No, so this was back in the introduction. So Devilfish was one of the first units that came out with the Tau. And what you used to do was you'd run 2 Devilfish, both with a unit of Fire Warriors in it, and you'd run them slightly off-center, a bit forward, with a bit of a gap in the middle. And because of the way the rules interacted, you effectively couldn't charge the Tau.
What?
So you could move your Devilfish up like that, and all the Tau would helpfully sit behind there, shooting the shit out of it. And because of the way the rules interacted, the Tau would be infinitely protected by the Devilfish. And it was very annoying.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you'd be good at the old, outdated, obsolete terms, but you're rubbish at this.
Well, if you're picking ones that were used when I wasn't playing the game, then that's going to happen.
Right. Here's another famous one, right?
Okay.
This famously happened at a tournament, and it was to win the tournament, it was the null deployment.
You've not come across this before, John?
Is this when you deployed literally nothing?
Yeah. So when it was legal to set your entire army in reserves or drop pods or whatever, and deploy nothing on the first turn, and it not resulting in an auto loss at that point, because they hadn't put that into the rules yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So the null deployment was deploying absolutely nothing on turn 1.
Which is generally used against armies like Tau that will shoot the fuck out of you on the first turn, completely nullifying you, and it's a way of like soaking their alpha strike essentially, so that you get to drop down in and hit first as like your own alpha strike, and negating potentially an entire turn of their play if they won the initiative.
Yeah, and one of the most famous uses was in a tournament in Europe, which kind of really just kind of brought it to everybody's notice because it was used and it cost the game. Because it was used against a Tau player running Groot, who deployed their entire army in one long line on the back, along the board edge of their opponent's deployment zone. And they did it against I think it was a White Scars army that all had to come on from reserves on that back line, couldn't come on. So effectively prevented them from deploying for the entire game.
Oh.
So they screened out the whole board and won by default.
I always thought that was like Warhammer Legend, that it was a theory crafted scenario. I didn't know it had taken place.
No, it really happened. It happened at a tournament. I wasn't there, but it was while I was on the scene. I remember it. And everyone was like, "Whoa, hey, brilliant," because null deployments were fucking annoying.
Yeah.
They weren't fun for anybody involved.
Also,
okay, last one I'm going to do then to seal off the night, and that is the parking lot. John.
This has been around for a lot longer, but it was prevalent, I think, in 9th edition, and it was that orc buggy list that literally could almost barely even fit into the deployment zone because it was like 36 buggies, and it was known as the parking lot. So I assume at some point before that, there was another list from another faction which just brought a fuckload of tanks, and essentially is a parking lot of tanks on your deployment.
So there was a time when Space Marines had access to free units, depending on what they brought, and they got to bring free Rhinos and free Razorbacks based on filling their army up with things that qualified for them. So you could bring 3,000 points worth of models into a 2,000 point battle.
We just got a new subscriber right there in the middle of our live. Well, we're not live, but I guess I've got the OBS alerts on, so we just got a subscriber.
Thank you very much, person who's subscribing while we're filming this, and you've got no idea that we're filming it, but props to you anyway.
Yeah, and we'd have no way of working out who you are. Anyway, yes, so you're both sort of right. So yes, John, that was the big thing back in 9th edition, but it was used much, much earlier than that. Mostly 4th, 5th editions where it started, but it came as pops up every now and again. And it was the idea of bringing loads and loads and loads of transports, often for free, and basically just building up in a big long wall.
Yeah.
So back in those early editions, when you blew up a vehicle, it used to stay on the table as a wreck.
I remember that now, yeah.
And you could build these giant impassable walls all over the table by parking loads of vehicles in them and preventing movement. And it disappeared because all the rules changed. So at the end of our final round, John, you have 4 and Mark, you have 4. So it's a draw in our final round. So scores on the doors. Oh, this is really dull. I'm going to change it now. Hang on. No, we're okay. So I thought for a second that you'd drawn overall, which would be even worse.
Did you? Was it an even number of rounds, Tony, or was it an odd number
No,
of rounds?
I just hadn't counted one. I missed one, so I drew it too small.
And you're a teacher by yeah, okay.
No, there wasn't even a number of rounds. So it could have been really risky. But no, it wasn't. It's fine. John, you took 3 rounds, but Mark, you are tonight's winner with 4. So congratulations,
yeah.
Mark. Apparently you know more weird, obscure terms than the rest of us do, because I reckon I only knew about half of them. I've still got loads of them on here that I didn't bother using.
And it's all due to the cheating stuff and the things that me learning through card games rather than Warhammer stuff. So
yeah, a surprising number of these have come across from card games and MMOs and that.
Well done, Mark.
Thank
you very much.
You are the champion. What does QI stand for? I don't watch QI,
Quite
but
interesting.
Quite interesting. All right, so this has been the penultimate, or the ultimate episode of QI Warhammer. I love it. I need to change the thumbnail because I need to make a thumbnail for QI Warhammer.
But there we go. So to be honest, I did this because terms and that were popping up, and I say I used to think I knew most of them, but there were some that I just didn't know.
Cool.
And I thought it'd be fun to sort of see which ones that we all sort of like knew in that, because it really does sort of show your age a little bit. So all these kind of like 4th and 5th edition ones, I know all of those. There's a few more only that I didn't bother with. The Invisible Death Star.
That was a bullshit and a half. That was.
Remember that? That was the Invisible Units back in 7th edition.
Yeah. And before that, when you could get a fucking 2-up Invan save rerollable fucking screamer Death Star of stupid bullshit.
Nidzillas. Remember that?
Yeah.
Back in 4th edition, 5th edition, that was when you first could build armies that weren't necessarily of Nid armies that didn't have the little Gribblies in it.
Yeah.
And that disappeared when they put a limit to how many Carnifexes you could take, because back then a Carnifex was a big deal.
I'm a little surprised you didn't put Distraction Carnifex in there, but I suppose maybe it's too common.
Well, in all honesty, so I told ChatGPT to dredge up me loads of terms, and it got me loads and loads and loads of them, but it didn't have Distraction Carnifex on there.
Oh, random. Okay.
And that surprised me a little bit, because you think that's, and maybe that is one that I know it and you guys know it, but maybe it's not that widely known.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I've been using it for, I don't know where I learned it from, to be honest, but the whole idea of a Distraction Carnifex, you used to take a cheap minimum point Carnifex in a Nid army, and you'd run it screaming towards your opponents, and they'd have to deal with it, and if they didn't deal with it, it'd be annoying, and if they did deal with it, they were left to rest your army alone.
Yep.
But yeah, it didn't come up in any of these things. So we've got Carnifex Taxes, I've got Nidzillas, I've got Screamer Star, but then that was Screamers with Invan saves and rerolls back in 6th edition.
Yeah. Stupid Zinch.
I'm just looking for any more. Bullshit. So yeah, no Carnifex Distraction Carnifexes.
Fair enough.
There we go.
No,
so yeah, that was half an hour, or I don't even know how it was now. Quite a while of complete bollocks of us trying to find out what terms people knew. If you've got any other good terms that we haven't used, and you want to put them down in the comments below and tell us what they mean, because we probably don't know them, please feel free, and we'll have a good laugh if there's any really good ones.
Yeah, I doubt there's a lot of cross-pollination either, but I want to credit the place that has taught me a lot of the card game terminology that I've picked up over the last year and a half. There's a website called Garbage Rollers, which does a whole load of Star Wars Unlimited stuff, and they have a new player's guide which went into a huge amount of depth on all these sort of terms and specifics on card games in general before getting into.
So is that where you learned all that stuff about Rubber Johnnies?
Yeah, exactly. That's where the Johnnies and Spikes and Timmy's shit came from. Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, if you like this sort of nonsense, please click the like button. Please subscribe. You can join our Patreon if you're, I don't know, generous or daft.
If you get some value out of what we do, if you think it's funny, if you fancy chucking a surprise for a cup of coffee every month, yeah, do it. Why not?
And if you've got some good ideas for the next round of,
then clearly we're in fucking need of it. Yeah.
Please, because we need to do a second Warhammer quizzing episode, because I've never seen Mark look so bored. And we will catch you all on the next one.
I was not bored in any way, shape,
I
or
think
form.
he was looking
Really.
pensive. We'll say pensive, not bored.
Oh, I was like,
How can we be bored?
what
Look at my
way
wife.
can I think of to take the piss
That
out
was-
of John and Tony in this particular question right here? Yeah. How am I going to do this?
All right, we're just going to keep waving. We'll keep waving. Yeah.
Just talking
Keep
some
waving.
random
All right,
Yeah,
press
when
the
this-
damn
They
subscribe
don't
button.
really want to cut me off mid-ramble here. So if I just keep the ramble going, they're just going to
If you
keep
like this
waving.
episode and you think that this is
And,
fucking nonsense, check out our best 80s movies episode
Oh yeah, or the 90s movies.
or the 90s movies episode, which is not the 80s movies
Or
episode.
the best Star Wars media, which got even
All
less
right.
views.
And then, do you remember what was that TV show on Channel 4, Eurotrash? Finn.
Yeah.
Fuck off. We're done.